What's up, guys? It's Steve Cardenas, aka Rocky the Red Power Ranger, and you are watching Smart Tank Revolution.
And welcome back to the Smart Tank Revolution, where we always kick out at two. I am your host, flying solo on this side of the pond, coming to you live from the office. The benevolent, intelligent, excellent, and eloquent Mr. Donnie Wonderful. And before you proceed even further, stop if you haven't checked out the last edition or installment, the 27th installment of The Essentials, where my colleague, the esteemed Oracle, Mr. Joey Business, did a phenomenal job rating and ranking Brock Lesnar. Not that this is a response to that, but he did raise a question. Excuse me. Oh man, those caffeinated beverages. Anyway, he did raise a question in his process of ranking that I decided to answer with an episode dedicated to this wrestler himself. I mean, the thumbnail's up, so you guys already know what I'm talking about. Today, I am going to be ranking New Jack, Mr. Jerome Young. The reason why I decided to go New Jack, and I'll let the cat out of the bag now. Joey mentioned when he was ranking the promo ability, and by now you should know the rating criteria. If you don't know, it's listed below in the description box. We rank wrestlers and or rate them based on two different rating scales. One of them derives from Bret Hart's autobiography, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling, where he ranks wrestlers in three categories from a score of 1 to 10. And then we transition to our Smart Tank Revolutions rating system, which we call the Essentials, which we also rank in three different categories, but we do it from a 1 to 5, and we have the point fives. It's just as bipolar as how we rate the matches. So, real quick, promo ability is the second skill on Bret Hart's rating system. And when Joey was ranking Brock Lesnar, he said he paired him with a mouthpiece, which is Paul Heyman, and said that Paul Heyman was the greatest to ever touch a mic. Before before yesterday, I've heard Joey say this quite a few times actually, and I would always disqualify it because I would say, hey, he's a promoter, so he definitely should be. If you ran a promotion and you hire talent, I'm pretty sure that you have to be really adept in being able to do it yourself. I.e., I think Vince McMahon, the character Mr. McMahon, um, I mean, now that kind of spawned organically out of a real incident, but boy, was he able to spin it. And Vince McMahon is no slouch on the mic. You're going to hang on to every word for one reason or another. Eric Bischoff can cut a great promo, and he did it as talent as well. His WWE stuff was incredible. So I kind of paired Paul Heyman in that category, forgetting that he was actually Paulie Dangerously. And it's one of those things where I acknowledged and I know it, but I kind of shunned it because he's just been the advocate, Paul Heyman, or the architect of extreme. I just made that up, Paul Heyman. But he's been Paul Heyman so long that I forgot about the Paulie Dangerously character he was playing in like WCW and even before that. So Joey's statement actually has a lot of credibility. But as I was pondering this, first person that came to mind, I said, all right, if we're gonna open that up, I mean, Bobby Heenan was great. The commentators are usually really great on the mic. Jerry Lawler is phenomenal on the mic. Um, shoot, if Paul Heyman's number one, I would put Jim Cornette one B. like they're interchangeable. But then I went into talent. I went into talent. And what one thing I like about this playlist here is, I mean, we started off with Shawn Michaels, and just wanted to get that out of the way. As a Bret Hart fan, eh, look, and this intro is already we're already 5 minutes in. I haven't even begun to even talk about New Jack. But follow me. Just bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. So we started off with Shawn Michaels because get that out of the way. Get one of the Mount Rushmore guys out of the way so we can focus on not the bottom tier guys, because they're not bottom, but guys that likely probably never been champion, or guys that aren't they're praised. They may be Hall of Famers, but they don't come up in your top five lists. It's easy to do Stone Cold, which we'll likely do together, but or we'll save those guys for occasions. That's what I mean. So I mean, we got HBK out the way. Joey followed that up with Bret. Now I stayed away from Bret because, as you all know, especially if you have been a longtime supporter of the champ of the champ and the channel. I believe Bret Hart's the greatest wrestler that ever laced a pair of boots. So I thought that it would be biased if I did an essentials on Bret Hart. But you know what? My selfish ass did an essentials on Bret Hart. But you know what? I have a right to do that. It was my birthday. It was my birthday. Come on, y'all. It was my birthday. I decided to do it's episode 25 slash 2.5. Donnie version. Bret Hart. So Bret Hart's on here twice. Um, we did Hulk Hogan to commemorate our 200th video that we uploaded to the channel. We're going strong, and we're going to continue to go strong. And then, there's few after that, and Joey decided to go after another big name, Mr. Brock Lesnar. It's a great installment in the series, and I encourage you, if you haven't heard that one, stop this right now where you're at and go back and listen to episode 27. So, keeping the theme going, like, don't worry, guys. I said on my Jake the Snake one, I have a CM Punk Essentials that's locked away. It's marinating. I'm gonna let it marinate. We can bring it out. CM Punk is coming. I'll let you guys know. Like the Undertaker, of course. I got stuff. Donnie's looking out for you guys. Don't worry. Just be patient with me. But in the interim, we got some of these guys we need to talk about. So now the transition. How do we get to Mr. Extreme himself, New Jack? Because when we talk about promos, I thought about who is excellent on the mic, like Paul Heyman. Um, Paul Heyman, as Joey said, he can sell you a vacuum wrestling a mop. Okay. So what's kind of on the parallel of that? Somebody that can get you emotionally involved in what's going on. There's a few people that can do that. Some people that can make you hate them. Okay, there's some people that can do that. But who can encompass all of that? And who has and where these, I guess before they were called pipe bomb promos, who has that power to do that? Like when they talk, you listen. All right, you guys feeling me? You guys feeling me? Following me? All right, I'm gonna reel it in. Don't worry, I got 2 more minutes. I like to spend a long time on these intros. So here's what I thought. I said, okay, if Paul Heyman is the best, let me think about it in other terms, right? So when you see something on YouTube, an interview by a wrestler, a shoot interview by a wrestler, if it's Scott Steiner, you're gonna watch. How Scott Steiner do on the mic? It's okay. We'll probably get to that. Honky Tonk Man is great on shoot interviews. Some of the most entertaining stuff I've ever seen. How is he on the mic? It's a different era. So, okay. You get Honky out of there. Shout out to you, Wayne. Jim Cornette, as I mentioned earlier, I said, yeah, if it's a shoot interview with Jim Cornette, you're listening. If it's an interview with Jim Cornette, you're listening. If it's a promo with Jim Cornette, you're listening. That's why I said, all right, you got Paul Heyman and you got Jim Cornette, but there's not a wrestler. But what person, if it's a shoot interview, Are you glued to eyes, ears, nose, everything? I said, wow. The only other person I can think of that has that type of that radiates that type of excitement, or I just want to hear what he's going to say in a shoot interview was New Jack. I said, yeah. And then I thought about it. I said, what is he like on the mic? I said, oh, I got something here. So here we are, 10 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen, the 28th installment after that long-winded intro and origin story. This is how I came up with New Jack. And the last thing I want to say, New Jack passed away, I think about almost 2 years, going on 2 years. Back in May, it was the spring of 2021. We do all this stuff off the cuff, as you all know. But but the years prior to that, he was really active on Facebook, and he went live a few times. Um, Back in like 2016, and like his posts were always hilarious, but he was engaging, and there was a few times that he went live that caught my attention. And I happen to be home. I'm not at work or anything. Hey, let's get on with New Jack. We get to all ask him questions. And there was a few of those times where there was only like 20 of us. So like he's literally engaging all of us. And like we would be on live just asking him questions for maybe about an hour and a half. Like he'd be laying down. His thing was he's either grabbing ass or watching cops. And it was cool. I we kind of, the mark and or the smark in me, the fan in me. I've always liked New Jack because he had the appeal to me. But just getting a chance to chop it up with you with someone you watched on television was golden. And like I really felt connected with him. I purchased this book before he passed. He signed it for me. He was signing everything. Like I got it in the mail. It's a really good read. I have to actually finish it, and I'll likely review it here on the channel. But let's get into New Jack. All right. So we already went over the rating systems. You know what they are. Again, they're in the description box. Let's get into this. So we're gonna go into the wrestler's look, scored from 1 to 10, their physique, appearance, and presentation. So, excuse me. Damn those the caffeinated beverages. Okay. So the physique of New Jack is very, he is an average. He's about 6 feet, but like there's no special build to him. I'm not going to fault him for that because I think that wrestling needs different types of bodies. I think not like James Ellsworth, but like I'm gonna put it to you like this: the reason why I'm gonna give him some uh diplomacy or some clemency on this one rather is because look at Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano is in shape, but he's very small. So, like his physique isn't empowering. As Joey would say, if you're on the line with him in Walmart and he says that he's a wrestler, oh yeah, you believe it. Some people have that appeal, and some people can exude that with their physical body. New Jack wasn't one of them. But neither was Dusty. Neither was you guys remember Trevor Murdoch and Lance Cade. Murdoch, he was a good wrestler, just had a real average man's body, or the dad bods. Nothing special there, but the appearance and the presentation, uh, you know, the ring gear wasn't the best, but it worked for the gimmick, and we use that term loosely because lo and behold, that was likely really him. I'm going to give him a 6 here because like, there was I don't want to say that there wasn't thought into his ring apparel, his ring attire, but there was from time to time. I just think a 6 is fair. 6 is fair for New Jack. And then the next one, and here's where it gets great, the promo ability. Okay? Now I led off and kind of plowed the road to get here. And this I'm going to score a perfect 10 for the promo ability. Um and I'm gonna make some references here. Like the ECW stuff, they were really allowing them to be themselves. So, and we're gonna get into the more infamy stuff later. But I think that this is the most promising category that New Jack would have. on I think both of our not necessarily, but like it's one of the highlights. His promo ability is phenomenal. It's a perfect 10. What you see on the shoot interviews is him. And he's extremely honest, extremely upfront. Um One of my, and I didn't know this until the early years of YouTube is when I saw his when I was finally able to see some of his promo stuff. Hey, look, the the gangsters with Jim Ross, and he referenced this a lot in some of in some of his interviews. Jim Ross is interviewing. Jim Cornette said, "Go out there and make white people mad." And I there was somewhere, I think like Chattanooga or somewhere in Tennessee. He cuts a promo after the match. And then like this is probably on the highlight reel of especially at the time we're in 1994, New Jack gives a shout out to OJ Simpson. That's two less that we have to worry about. What? What? Oh, come on. Hey, listen. Like this is during the time where it was presented more in a sports fashion. The wrestlers aren't out there by themselves. They have Jim Ross is presented as a professional color commentator, as a professional broadcaster. You have a man in a suit and you're cutting your promo after the match. Great promo. Phenomenal promo. And that right there was to, essentially incite a riot. Whenever you have fans trying to jump over the guardrail to do some harm on you, or they're trashing your automobile, trust me, if they hate you that much, it's not solely because of the wrestling. You have to be a good talker. And at that time, like he was the mouthpiece of the gangsters. I don't remember D'Lo Brown. I know D'Lo Brown was in that stable for a while, but I don't remember any promos where he verbally stands out. That was all New Jack. ECW. I mean, like it was just as violent as it can be, and I think New Jack personified that. Whenever he spoke, or whenever Natural Born Killers came on, oh man, like you knew what time it was, and he was great. He was great, great. Now the in ring work, okay, the in ring work. Um, Smoky Mountain, and I can't remember where he was before. I think he was either Georgia or Florida before. New Jack wrestled, a different style than what it was by the time we saw him in ECW. Okay. So like I believe the fundamentals are always there. But then after a while, we just became accustomed to him, breaking guitars and kendo sticks over people and diving off a high shit. So I'm going to say I'm going to give him a 6 in the in ring work. Oh, I didn't even. Okay, so even when you tone that down, okay, fine, a 6 is fair because even when you tone that down, and he was older, and this is after he had the injury and Danbury, Vic Grimes. After all of that stuff, even in TNA, he had the name and wasn't bad. Was able to go out there and get over and not carry a match, but deliver a fairly well. I don't want to sound like I'm just being nice, but like they weren't bad matches that he was having in TNA. He was doing some pretty wacky stuff with Shark Boy, but when they got in the ring, I think it was pretty. He did what you expected him to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like I would equate it to Michael Jordan coming back from retirement the second time to play for the Wizards. He's not Air Jordan anymore, but the concept in the game he still has in his mind. Maybe his body's not allowing him to execute what his mind is telling him to do, but he's still able to go out there and put up 20. Not every night, maybe every other night. So that was he was serviceable at TNA. So yeah, I'll give him a six there. So six for the wrestling look, the promo ability gets a 10. Six again for the in ring work. That's a 22. I'm all right with that. So now we're going to transition over to the our rating system, the essentials. Three categories again, one to five. And I know when we talk about New Jack, I've glossed over all the infamous stuff. I mean, shoot, have you guys seen the Dark Side of the Ring? Look at the Dark Side of the Ring episode. I mean, I'm probably gonna have to get especially when we get to the defining moments. Oh my God. Oh my God. So, all right, so this is probably gonna get interesting because when we get there, right, we have innovative effectiveness, classic matches, classic rivalries, and defining, redefining moments. I think some of those defining and redefining moments would be reasons you take points away. But well, I don't know. Well, let's see if we can get through this. Keep it under a half hour. All right. So the innovative effectiveness, the ability to work as a babyface or heel. Oh man, New Jack had the appeal to make you love him or make you hate him, and you paid money to see him lose, or you paid money to see him get beat. Like the reference I made with his promo ability, you giving a shout out to OJ Simpson in 1994. That's what's the word for that? That's not cheap heat. That's just I hate you heat. I don't, he was really good at it. If the Undertaker is tipping his hat to you, that has to go a long way. That definitely has to go a long way. That little program that they did when Taker went to Smoky Mountain and the way they worked that match, it's on YouTube somewhere. Where man, that would probably be for the next category. But innovative effectiveness, like, as a heel, he was great. As a baby face, you guys remember when and he mentioned this, and I think this was one of his gripes with Kevin Nash when Master P was in WCW. I get it. I mean Master P was one of the biggest rappers at the time. This is 1998, I believe. So when they came in and they fought the West Texas Rednecks, you remember them? Donnie remembers. What do you think? Donnie remembers. You remember the rappers crap? Master P wanted New Jack. New Jack had a huge urban appeal, and I can say that. We're friends, right? We're friends. But yeah, New Jack was beloved. Maybe for the wrong reasons. I think like I just like when Natural Born Killers came on and the song played throughout his whole entire match, and he just seemed like he was in rhythm with it. There was a few people that just wanted to see him dive off of stuff, which I think is the wrong reason, but nevertheless, he was beloved. So I'm gonna rank him a four here. Um, should be a five. I 4.5. Okay, 4.5 because and I'm not even being generous. Like when you think of ECW, if you name 10 people out of ECW, I wonder how long you're gonna get down that list before you mention New Jack. If you don't start with it, because you can, like the pulse of ECW that likely won't be acknowledged as that was New Jack. We love New Jack. Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, Taz, Sabu, Rob Van Dam, Shane Douglas. Come on. That's six people. Like New Jack has to come somewhere within the next three. And deservedly so. And the classic matches, classic rivalries. Um, I would say the Gangstanators. You guys remember when the Eliminators was Perry Saturn and John Cronus, and then Saturn left, and I forgot what was going on with the gangsters then, but Cronus and New Jack formed a tag team, a Cinderella tag team that was pretty that was interesting. Hmm, Classic though. I would put it a tier under that. New Jack versus Rhino. was interesting because I think that match, New Jack versus Rhino for the television title, I think of the way Rhino won, and that was kind of like a glorified squash match with the guy that was getting squashed winning. But that did, and during that time, I think that was like either 99 or 2000, but that did so much for Rhino. That elevated Rhino, okay, in ECW. I have to give New Jack credit for that. Um, the stuff he did with Spike Dudley, not that they're classic, but they're kind of like nostalgic favorites. All right, so I'll give him half the skill here. I'll do, oh man, I want to do 2.5, but like because there's a high level of nostalgia there. Because all right, so when he fights Rick Grimes, now that's a rivalry that was actually kind of real. I mean, because he got hurt because of it, and that was an accident. But we all talk about like that Danbury fall. Is that classic or like that? That's kind of like a notorious. I don't, you know what I mean? Like that's known for that's an infamous moment, man. That changed that man's life. So like it's something that happened, but in the grand scheme, you wish it didn't because he was actually hurt by it. So we'll do a 2.5 here, right in the middle, right in the middle. In the defining and redefining moments, as Gypsy Joe, as Gypsy Joe. I mean, all right. So here's where it gets a little touchy. I might just do I might do a 5 for the Fifth Amendment here. I mean, man, mass transit, like the stories behind it, like I hate it kind of does define them. Uh um they they did a documentary on it. They did a documentary on it. So on Vlad TV, DJ Vlad interviewed him. And though they went through his childhood and how he got started, a lot of that stuff, hey, well, you stabbed a guy in the ring. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He stabbed a guy like 8 times. Gypsy Joe. Gypsy Joe was old. Oh, man, Gypsy Joe was old. So, like this one, I'm on the fence. And for the first time in Smart Tank history for the essentials, I may leave this score to our listeners. I'm gonna leave this one alone. The defining and redefining moments, because now I feel like a defense attorney. Like we're thinking everything in wrestling. But when you think of New Jack, what do you think about? He had great matches with Balls Mahoney, right? I can reel off quite a few of them. But when you think of New Jack, you think of this stuff. Mass transit almost dying. He cutting people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard. It's hard. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna do it this way. You guys tell me what from 1 to 5. You at the point fives, the point 7.5s, whatever. You guys score this for me, and I'll defend it in the comment section. And our supporters, you guys actually come with some great facts. In splendid opinions. I'm gonna leave this one open to interpretation. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna say a 3 just to say a 3. I'm just throwing that out there. But I'm more curious on how you guys, our lovely supporters, how would you guys rate New Jack's defining and redefining moments, the career defining moments of a wrestler? Because either you go on the moral side, the side of moral turpitude, where he did a lot of stuff outside of the ring, but this is focused on what he did in the squared circle. I get that, but at the same time, again, the documentaries about New Jack, they they talk about what he did in the ring, and they acknowledge that and they pay homage to it. But the climax and the drama is all the stuff that, well, he did these things in the ring. He meant to throw Rick. He tased Vic Grimes and threw him off the scalpel with the intent to kill him. Now that was in the ring. So, I mean, like, yeah, I'm on the fence. I am on the fence. So you guys tell me this was fun. This was fun. We got another. We're gonna crank these out more often as well, and really build this playlist. Get it strong. Get it nice and burly and bulky. So yeah, I'm looking for. I'm gonna end this video now because I'm looking forward to what I'm gonna hear in the comments. Thank you if you even made it this far. All right, guys. Donnie Wonderful signing off.